So let's have a look now at how you can generate schedules that can run for you for your various agents. How you can edit them, you can test them, etc. So here's an example where I've asked the agent, or I have my admin agent reads almost have multiple email addresses. So then it goes through and reads each of my email accounts for any of the new emails every morning, and then it extracts specific information for me. So there I've asked the agent now to, so I'm going to go back a little bit. So let me actually pause it here. So you can explain the workflow that you'd like the agent to create for you. So here I've explained, please create this workflow to read my email addresses, and then, when it should run. And then I've also asked the agent to, generate a consolidated table with key information, related to our application, or if there's anything, business related. And then I've also asked the agent to then actually email the consolidated table out to me every morning. So you can either manually type everything out, or you can just, give a overview explanation of what you want, the agent to do. And then you can hit the create workflow button. And then the agent will actually then create that structured workflow and update it for you. So while the agent's off doing that, I also have a workflow which does AI news research. So again, I just asked the agent to create the workflow for me. And then you can, at the bottom of each of your workflows, you can then set, here's the output section that I referenced earlier. So you can set, do you want the final result to be sent out as an email? Do you want it to be shared? So do you want that final result to then trigger one of your other agent tasks? So that's the share to team. So you can, again, just describe through natural language, share this result with my X agent and trigger their workflow that does Y. And the agent will figure out what to do and send that off. Or you can also include the update interface. So do you want this completed report, completed task to then be used to update one of your custom interfaces? So if you think back to that like deep research example I gave, maybe this AR weekly updates and news report would then get sent to that interface, and, trigger an agent to then actually update that interface, and, it'll slot everything in there. Then you can set, do you want this to run daily, weekly, monthly, bi-weekly, whatever the case is, day, time, whatever. And then once you hit activate, then this workflow will happen based on that interval. So here we can have a look at, what my, I have an agent that, each week looks for any updates in any of the top model providers, or their SDK, so like the way that we interact with the models. And then it generates that report for me. And then it's actually even included some code snippets of things that have changed. I mean, I'm not going to read the massive report to you, but yeah, so that's how these workflows then, run. And they'll, then this runs every week, finishes on a Sunday. Every Monday, I then, have a look at that. Is there anything we need to action, and so on. There we go. So this agent now has created the workflow to read my email addresses, and then you pause it there. Maybe, as you can see, it's then included. Okay, cool. It's going to send the email, where it's from, where it's going to. It needs to happen daily, 4 a.m. So then once you have a workflow, you've created it. Again, you can also then edit this, which is quite nice. If there's things that you want to tweak, change, etc., you can actually go through and see what the instructions are and edit them as you need. So once you're happy with that, if you click the verified button, then this workflow becomes a workflow that is able to be triggered, whether it's by one of your other agents. So as you click the verified button here, then, the other agents will see, okay, cool, this agent has this specific workflow. If, you have a specific task that then would trigger this. And then if you hit for your cyclic or scheduled workflows, so like daily, weekly, whatever the case is, you click the active button. And then once you've activated it, then that workflow will execute based on that schedule moving forward. So what's quite nice about the way we've implemented this is, so here it's built the workflow. So then you can actually run it and test it. So, okay, so you can run it and see, is the result what you're looking for? Do you want to tweak it, etc., before making it active and so on? So yeah, I'm not going to go through the rest of the video. I think that kind of, I think that basically covers it. You can also create workflows just on demand, so they don't have to be scheduled. So you can either trigger by just hitting the run button, or can then be triggered by other agents. So, yeah, that's it it's literally as easy as that to then generate workflows that happen. So this again is probably a 2-day discussion, but this is just a sort of a visual representation, a high level of what the memory looks like, the way we've developed the memory in the back end. So as your agents as you start using the agents, they then will start to build their short-term memory, their long-term memory, what are their priorities, uh, whatever, they build this entire memory structure. And we've created the way that it's updated and interacted with to mimic the way that our human memory works. So where this differs to like your, let's say, standard RAG or just saving everything that ever happens is when your agents, let's take a task such as, and if you give a nice example. Okay, well, let me just take one of our coding agents. Okay, so as we are building our application, I have front end agents that handle certain sections, back end agents that handle certain sections. But obviously, as the code develops and as the application grows, changes, etc., that code or those functions obviously adapt, update, etc. So what was a fact on, let's say, 3 months ago, at this stage, it's busy, it's updating itself very quickly. What was a fact maybe 2 weeks ago of how a specific part of the application worked that the agent would then need to remember or would be in its memory isn't relevant anymore, right? So the next time the agent was busy updating that specific, let's say, section of code or functionality, it's also then updating that memory for that piece of knowledge. Okay. And then it integrates the latest information with the historic information to keep a relevant, live, efficient, updated memory for that specific section. So that's really in a high level. I don't know if I explained it very well. There's very fancy professors that explain it much better, and there's links on our channel to some of them discussing how that all works. But yeah, that's really a high level sort of overview of how we've built the memory structure on the back end. So, and where that starts to really feature is as you work. So if again, I take out my back end agent that's handling the integrations, obviously I've been, that agent does a lot, right? It's updating different sections, interacting with data structures, the APIs, etc. So the more that agent has it's built a full understanding of the context, the environment, the priorities that it works in. So now that agent can start suggesting and executing changes or creating suggested updates, etc., by itself, because it understands exactly the context that it's working in, both in terms of like the facts of what it needs to do, as well as priorities, strategies, and that type of thing. So yeah, that's a 30-second overview of a 2-day discussion. So yeah, if you'd like to pause, you can just, I mean, this is literally just the key memory sections that form part of our memory, which we've then mirrored across to the agent's memory.